Bam! Here we are. My man, Ole from Norway. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Niro. Thanks for asking. And you?
I'm doing good. It's really nice to have you here. And this will be the first episode we have in English. But as I told you, you have a lot of followers from other places in Scandinavia. So we need to be a little bit more international this time.
I think so too. I think actually most of my followers are non-Scandinavian. So for them, it would be impossible to understand what we talk about if we don't keep it in English.
From where are them? Do you see your statistics?
I think mainly North and South America. That's maybe 30%, 40%.
All right.
And then, so that's the main. And then a lot of people from Italy, for some reason, I don't know why, probably Mauro. Yeah. But that's the statistic I can see. But another fun fact about the statistics, 93.4% are men.
Of course. So, what did you expect? What did you expect, Ole? My man, we all get in these games, thinking we're gonna get the girls and we're gonna get big and shredded, and we only have dudes following us.
That's true. To be honest, I think I know all the girls that follows me.
Are they all from City Gym?
No, more or less, I guess.
but I think that when you are that big as you are, to everybody that doesn't know Ole, you really need to check out his Instagram. Are you around 130 kilos now?
Yeah, now I'm just above. Yeah, I was 129, but it was getting uncomfortable. So I skipped down to like 126, which feels great. I feel light, I feel good, breathing is good. And that's the key. You got to keep the health parts in mind as well. Don't always just push.
Oh, I understand. So, but that's a lot of weight, 126. How tall are you?
176.
176. So that's, you're not that tall. And then for the people in North America, then that's close to 300 pounds.
Yes, not far from, but still a couple of kilos left.
Oh, but it's still, you're big. People that doesn't know you, I think they think you look menacing. You do. You're big as a house. You have the big tattoo, but you are the one of the nicest guys they will ever meet. You keep to yourself. I've never heard you being upset or any kind of argument in the gym.
There's no point. People have different ideas and different aspects of life. So everybody has a meaning, and people are just different. There's no point in arguing about that.
No, exactly. So, but I think that's why mostly the girls that do follow you are the ones that know you.
Yes.
Well, and there are some other girls that like big guys, So I had gotten a couple of questions from the listeners, and mostly of the questions are the normal ones, how much you eat, how much you train. So we will go into that during while we're talking about it. But there's one question that sticks out, and I really want to, let's break the ice with this question. And it's a girl. Her name is Amanda, blonde, Swedish, classic Swedish girl, blonde, looks very, very good, and she likes big guys, and she's asking if you would go on a date with her when you come here to Sweden.
Sorry.
Are you? You're not single?
No.
Tell us about it. How long have you been in a relationship?
No, we've known each other for many years, but it hasn't been until the last couple of months before things changed. Which sometimes it does. You have many people you meet throughout the years, especially when it is competition. You meet different girls, different athletes, and that's not the perfect timing to actually meet up and get to know each other. But when you actually meet up afterwards, it's a different setting, it's a different thing, and then you actually find out that similar kids play the same game well. It's much more easy, it's much more understanding, and that's probably been one of my problems in the past in my relationships. I didn't have anybody that really understood what I'm going through, how I'm feeling, and also, of course, what my reality and expectations are for the future. If you have somebody that doesn't understand that, it's very difficult to have a life together.
Especially when you're really on the top of the game, as a professional.
Well, hopefully in a couple of years, yes.
No, but you're not doing anything different that anybody on the top is doing. You're giving your everything into this.
Well, yeah, I could always be better, but one always can. It's like maybe it's a demon on the shoulder, but every time I sit back in the couch, you always think that I could have done this better today. I could have done training better. I could have done diet better. I could have slept more. There's always things that can improve, and you always have the feeling that you've never done enough. So no, I don't feel I'm doing everything I could, but I'm trying.
That's a very good quality to have, and because when people ask me if I have any inspiration or motivational athletes, you can always say, well, I like Phil Heath and I like the looks of some of the pros, but when it comes to hard work, Ole, I always reference to you. Because
I know.
I've seen you, I've seen you, your everyday when I was living in Norway. You never missed a meal. It didn't matter if it was summer, winter, autumn, if it was Christmas. You had your chicken, you had your rice, you had your mammoth shakes from Nordic Power.
No kidding.
On the side, can you still drink mammoth shakes now that you're sponsored by Dragon Pharma?
No, I'm not with Dragon anymore.
You're not with Dragon, all right?
No. Like 1 year ago, we didn't agree upon the terms, and I figured out for myself that I'd rather be without any sponsors at all. So I also set up Herbstone as well. And the only thing I did was to freeze the Gorilla Wear agreement. Mm. And then I was able to do whatever I wanted, because at some point I felt that my profile was getting more and more of an advertisement place and not posting actually what I wanted. So it was stealing more and more of my time, more and more of my energy, and everything I posted was more or less commercial. So I wanted to get away from that and just focus on what I really like and love. And that's seeing other people succeed, and as well put focus on myself. So I quit the sponsor and I just added athletes instead.
Can you tell me, how does a sponsorship deal look to you now that you're a professional and you have a big following? Could you tell some details?
Yeah, of course. I have no issues with that. Dragon, for example, for those years I was with them, paid me $1,500 a month. Plus they covered all flights and hotels and everything with competitions. And you could also take out around $500 every month in products. So it's not a lot, but of course it's helping if you don't have any other income. But I have other income. So to me, that was more of a hassle. And if I spend that amount of time on my real job, not real job, but you know what I mean, then I would make like twice the money. So I just wanted to be free of that, not having to always post about if there's Thanksgiving BOGO alert or anything related to any deals that you had to post every week, plus every weekly post for the company itself. Then to me, that wasn't giving enough in return.
I understand. So people understand also you're not a stupid meathead. You have quite an important job in Norway with oil, if I remember right.
Well, important, but
it pays good. Then it's important.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's important, but it pays well. It does. But of course,
and it is with oil, right?
Yes, oil and gas. Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been working with that?
11 years now, I think. Now I'm 34. Yeah. This year, 11.
This year, 11. How does your co-workers feel when you step into a meeting and you are the largest human they ever met?
That's the thing. Everybody that's working in the environment that I do, regardless of company, they've seen me for the last 11 years. So I don't think they take notice. To me, to them, I'm just me. So no, I don't think, I never heard anything, never any comments. Of course, that if we go out to eat, then I order 2 dinners instead of 1. Then of course it's being noticed, but that's pretty much it.
And how does that interfere with your training and dieting? Do you plan your holidays or your vacations around competitions and so?
Yes. the last 2 years I've had. In the past, it was more of a wing it and maybe take only the last 2 days off before leaving for a show. It's not much different now, but maybe I'll do the last week, I'll take time off. But in the past, I've been, working abroad up to the last week before competitions, and it didn't affect anything in my sense. Because you have the food, you have the training, and the diet, the sleep, the recovery itself. It's not much different regardless of where you are. You can always eat and train what you need.
Do you believe that bodybuilders that say that you can't work a normal job and compete at a higher level, are they just lazy?
Yes. I'm sorry to be brutally honest, but that's my 5 cents on that thought. But it's, of course, it depends on the job.
Yeah.
If you have a job where it's possibility, like I do, to work around the schedule sometimes and then add in the meals where you need to, and then, of course, have the breaks where you need to eat, and also do some trainings during daytime, then, of course, you have a huge advantage instead of being forced into a job where you can leave your post throughout the day, and don't get to eat, you don't get to train, you don't get to do what you need to do in order to grow and get big. So if you have that kind of job, then you're not lazy. It's just the job position you have doesn't work with bodybuilding. But if you have a position like an office position or something, then yeah, you're just lazy in my eyes.
I think there's something to it, definitely. You can always, because when you do bodybuilding and even if you are 100% committed, you do your cardio, you do your training, eating, well, it's a part of life. You always have to eat no matter what.
Exactly.
What are you doing the rest of how many hours do we have? 12, 13 hours that we're awake. So some kind of productivity I believe you need to be sane, because if you're only sitting home playing PlayStation and thinking about the next meal, then I think it can deprive from the process.
Yes. Yeah, especially if you're on a diet and you're actually getting hungry, which I only get maybe the last 2-3 weeks, then it's nice to have something to take your mind off, actually, that you're hungry and not constantly thinking about the show or anything. It also has to do with, the cortisol level in your body. The higher they are, then of course, the more catabolic you will become, and it's not going to be a good end result. So I think that if you have something that takes your mind off the competition and the food and everything, things just go on autopilot, and you become in a much better condition than you would have if you were just sitting at home playing PlayStation, like you said. So at least for me, but people are different. Some people find it stressful to be at work and their cortisol level rises sky high and they come in an off condition. But
yeah, they do. Now that you mention hunger and diet, the most common question I got is that people are wondering, how much do you need to eat to be as big as Ole? So we can just start at the off season. And how much are you eating when you're going all in on size?
If I put it all in, like full blast and everything, I guess I'm around 6,002 and 6,004 on the average day, and we maybe once a week, me and a friend or my girlfriend or whatever, we have like not force feeding, but eat everything you can in Saturday evening or Sunday evening. So then we maybe start off with a lasagna split in half with a couple of slices of garlic bread, and then next up to some pancakes filled with, I don't know, something else, Nutella, and then you switch, and then you just eat all evening. So then maybe that day becomes maybe 8,000-9,000. But that's kind of what I have to, because now I'm currently eating around 5,6, and I'm losing weight.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
because we can begin with saying that you have a fast metabolism. So people that say genetics here and there, you are not a big guy from the start, Ole. I remember the first time you competed was it minus 90 kilos or minus?
No. Like first competition in 2008, all natural and everything, I was like 74.8 on stage. But keep in mind that my height is 176. I was almost kilo to the weight, minus 100, of course.
Yeah, that was almost a classic. You got down.
That was classic. That was classic.
You did classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did classic in 8, 9, and then switched. And then gradually progressed, just getting bigger and bigger.
We're gonna get about the progression there, because the progression is insane. But according to the food, when you say that you eat 6,000 calories or more, people need to understand this is clean food.
Yes, yeah,
it's really basic. So if you can put it down in grams, so they can understand how much a normal meal is.
Oh yeah, but I can just tell the total. So I always find it, for my body, it works best on low fat. Insulin sensitivity is better. Body uses carbohydrates for primary fuel, and everything else that you eat is only then used for rebuilding, or fat is for the different hormones that the body needs to produce. But as long as you have enough carbs, at least for my body, then it's like putting gas on a fire. The more gas you put on it, then the more it's going to burn. So in carbohydrates, off season is between 850 and 1100 on a daily basis. And that's from rice, oatmeal, and then of course, Vitago and all of those regarding to the shakes in between the window around training. And then protein is actually pretty low. It's around, not low, but low to my size, because it's around 300 grams, 320 tops. People say that, it's too low, but there's nothing more liver toxic than too much protein. I've seen my values on 450 grams of protein, and my body doesn't handle that well. Liver values goes up. You can even find protein in the urine. So it's not a good thing. Too much protein is some of the most damaging thing you can do to your liver. So around 300, and then fat is anything between as low as 40 to 70. Depending on the day,
that's really low. That's really low.
Yes. But that's how my body works the best. So that's something I perfectioned and figured out over a long period of time. It's not like I started yesterday or last year. Is this from all the way back to 2007? Yeah. So I experimented with everything, but that's what I advise everybody to do. Find out what works for your body and your metabolism and just stick to it.
Yeah, good. Around what time did you start working with Mauro from Italy?
Oh, that was 2017. I had done the Malta Grand Prix, which is a pro qualifier, and I came split second. And I think, you competed as well.
I was there, yeah. I remember. Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was looking at overall, and you had plus 100, Andrea Presti, minus 100, Avramis, and then Kili Kayula in minus 95. So top 3 in overall were all Mauro athletes. So after the competition, I met him outside of actually Burger King, because that was the only thing that was open, if you recall. Mm-hmm. And I simply asked him, like, what do you guys do since everybody is on top? So he said, we talked on Monday, and he texted me, Kristian, what can I do for you? And that's when it started.
Yeah, and it's been since then, I believe, especially after that collaboration, that's when I really think you started leaving humanity behind, because you were competing around in the plus 100.
Just above. I don't recall the weights, but maybe 102, 103.
Exactly.
Somewhere. Yeah.
So that's around 10 more kilos since then.
Yeah, but the condition wasn't the same as now. So maybe even more.
Maybe it's even more. Exactly. What would you say Mauro made? What kind of changes did he do to your physique?
Mostly changes to the training, and just try and figure out what exactly worked for my body the best. And we just did the same thing with the food. And then all of a sudden it was like a light bulb switch on, and then everybody thinks there's a secret, but there's a secret for everyone. So you need to find your secret. And this is something me and Mauro uncovered together. Because there's no secret drug, no secret food, no secret training. Everybody's different. You need to figure out what's the secret for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I think people they want so badly to just that somebody tell them do this,
Yeah,
and then everything will come. So they listen to a lot of different people until they hear the answer they want,
yeah.
and then
True.
they go for it.
Yeah,
Because I remember also, you know, there in City Gym, the gym where you train and where I was there for a couple of years, you became like a lot of the young guys came to you for advices, and
yeah,
but you only told them, you never told them this is what you need to do, but that this is what I'm doing,
yeah,
and then hopefully they make a smart decision. Because I remember the time that I asked you, Ole, how do you really do to handle all this food? And we came in the talk about insulin and growth hormone,
yeah,
and you gave me a protocol.
yeah,
You okay that we talk about this?
yeah. Of course. Yeah,
Yeah, you gave me a protocol, and I looked at it, and then it evolved during the weeks, and I said, no way, this is really not going to work for me. I don't think I am the body type that can handle this.
yeah,
So well, there's a lot of questions here also about the performance enhancing sides of the sport. And
yeah,
I'm always trying to tell people that that performance enhancing part is just a piece of the pie.
yeah.
And you
To
can,
be honest, it's 10% maybe.
you would say it's only
Yeah,
10%.
yeah. Sleep, recovery, training, diet. It's like huge in comparison. Like I can train perfect, but I don't eat enough. Nothing happens. I can train like shit, but I eat enough. Something happens with the body. It's the same thing with the performance enhancing. I can be lousy at training or lousy at diet. Nothing happens, regardless of how much you put in. And at the same time, you can be pretty much off season. You can be lousy with the performance enhancers, but everything else is in order, and you grow. It's like you can't make muscles out of oil or performance enhancing. You need the foundation. If you don't have the foundation, nothing's going to happen.
Why do you think people they turn and they see they use the excuse of the performance enhancing as the key to success within our sport?
I don't know why they do it, but it's definitely a bad choice to make because that's not how things work. You and I know that
No,
well.
I
Yeah.
know, I really know it. But would you say that the side of the performance enhancing during your how you say how many years you've been competing now? That's around
Ooh,
almost
12
15,
years.
12 years.
12, yeah.
Has it changed much, or is it more or less the same? Some details here and there, but more or
Yeah, the
less it's the same.
method has changed. It's more of a listening to the body and avoiding receptor downregulation, and then always keep in mind that health needs to be taken care of, which maybe you didn't think much about in the beginning or in the past. And also now that the weight is moving up, you see you maybe don't get any side effects from the performance enhancing themselves, but you get side effects from being that heavy and that big. Difficulties with the breath, difficulties by walking or doing other activities. There's lots of difficulties that you didn't experience in the beginning. So then you have to take that into consideration. That's why I'm more of a fan of hard and fast on, but for a short period of time. So that you listen to the body, always avoid receptor downregulation, and then take more or less one small step, just cruise one more step, but then you gradually increase all the time in size instead of having a huge up and then, of course, a big down. It's not healthy for the body. It's not healthy for your mind. And if you're going to keep doing this for 10, 15 more years, then you have to think in a smart way.
I understand the theory. How often do you check your blood and your health?
Oh, often. Yeah. Like last time, maybe 3 weeks ago, I guess. Yeah. So depending the body, I know my body so well now that my body tells me when something is a bit off. It doesn't have to be much. I can feel something is a bit off. I go to do the blood works, and you find out that iron is a bit low, and all of a sudden D vitamin is low. There's always something that I feel is off. And there's maybe just a small thing, because we eat the same, we train the same, we sleep the same, we drink the same. All those variables are taken away. So the only thing you need to take into account is the one you can't see, which is the inside. So then you need to do blood works. So that's key to my eyes, that you need to do that often.
Do you have a doctor you can go to and have a conversation?
Yeah. Yes.
Does he understand what you do, and thereof he can adjust? Because even if we when you do your blood work, there's like a reference point. They tell you a normal person should be between 2 and 4 of whatever.
Yes.
But can this doctor understand that you, as almost 130 kilo human being that trains like an animal, you need to have another reference point?
Yes, he does. But he's very careful, and he does always these extra testings. If we find something, then he always send the blood further for more analysis. Same thing with the urine. So if there's something that they find, then of course he does additional testing just to exclude that there's something, what can I say, that can harm your health. So yes, I think that's also key. You need to have somebody that's on your side, that understands the sport and understands that you can't be referencing you with a 75 kilo man from the street. It's not going to be the same. It's a huge different. It's a way different intake when it comes to calories, and same thing goes for the body weight itself. Just to have that muscle mass, there, of course, the values themselves will be pretty much outside of the normal range. But it's the difference between being a bit outside of the normal range and being way off.
Yeah, exactly. What would you? Well, it's different to say what would you consider being way off, because we need other references. But where do you, around what time do you say, all right, we've taken it far enough, let us cut back?
Oh yeah, that's happened quite often. This fall, it happened to me after 7.5 weeks when I was in Finland. Then I noticed on my body, this is too much. I was getting too heavy. I was pushing above 130, and I was doing a guest post, and all the water retention just piled up. After the flight, I was just eating and drinking and never went to toilet. So the weight just I maybe put on like 4 kilos in just one day. So that was awful. Then the body just says to stop, and then you have to hold back. And the same thing happened again now. So then you hold back because you have to, or else it's going to be the last day of your life. You wake up, you're not going to sure if you wake up this next morning.
Do you have any worries or fears regarding the sport and what it takes,
of course,
from the body?
Yes, mainly sleep, because a lot of people, me myself included, and that takes forever to get. You have to do that at the hospital. You have to be at the sleep clinic. A lot of people on my weight, not just on my weight. The weight itself is just one portion of one of the aspects, but some of us maybe have a bigger tongue. We have what can I say, more narrow throat when it comes to breathing. Some of us may have difficulties by breathing through your nose, and then you have a lot of sleep apnea. And that's one way that in the future you will definitely get some health problems because of that. So you need to eliminate the factors that might cause you harm. And that's sleep apnea, for example, that's one of them. So I think that it's very difficult to understand because you don't have a reference of what's a good night's sleep anymore, because it's been gradually progressing into a worse and worse condition. So if you don't have that, it's impossible to say that, okay, I sleep well, or this was a good night's sleep. And then if you're always tired the next day, then something's off. Another thing you can check is when the body sleeps deep enough, you're producing a hormone that stops the body from producing urine. So you don't go to the toilet during the night. If you're used to, sorry, there's another call.
There you go.
Sorry.
No
if you're used to maybe going to the toilet 2 to 5 times every night, then something might be off. Your sleep is not deep because you have to go up to the toilet. But if you go up maybe once or preferably none, which I do now, then you know that the body is sleeping deep, because then you're producing hormone which stops urine secretion, and because you're supposed to sleep through the night.
So you're telling me that you don't go to the bathroom at all during the night?
No, not now. No, I used to, maybe 2-3 times a day, a night.
You know, man, that's my biggest problem, especially on diet. Well, on diet, then I may be up like 5-6 times when I'm at my worst, but but I have no body fat at that point. But right now in my off season, I go at least 2 times during the night. What would you recommend to check during my next checkup?
I would ask your doctor. First of all, you can have your girlfriend or your partner that sleeps next to you just to check on you. If you have
that will be a problem, because she sleeps like a rock. And I can't even get her up in the morning so she can go to work, or she needs like 4 alarms, one of them being in the other room. So that will be a difficulty. But on the other side,
he'd be referred to the sleep clinic.
All right.
Yeah. But one of the easy things is to have your partner, girlfriend, whatever, to just check when you go to sleep, or if you go to sleep before her. Just have her see if you have any stops. So then she can see if you stop breathing. Even if it's just a small stop, just 5 seconds. That's early stage. The earlier you can catch it, the better.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of people that maybe have stop every minute, and they stop everything between 10 to 25 seconds. So you're breathing half the time.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not sleeping well.
It's really serious. Really.
It's a serious topic.
No, I will definitely check it out, because, I'm way back in the day when I remember Jay Cutler said in an article that if you're not going to the bathroom at least 2 times during the night, then you're not drinking enough water during the day. so I'm always going by that. I'm not getting out to piss, so I really need to drink more water. And I know I drink a lot of water, around 5 to 6 liters, and
I do the same.
Yeah, and if you tell me that you don't go to the bathroom, I also remember Alex Ladsted, Snig Alex, as I call him. He told me the same thing, and when we were in USA competing, he never got up one single time to go to the bathroom, and I was so impressed and jealous.
I know.
You're popular, Ole.
Who's calling? Sorry, my ex-wife.
All right. Well, man, so we talk about the health part, and that's really important. And that's the thing I really want everybody that's listening and watching.
She's not giving up. I have to take this. It's like the 10th time.
I understand. We'll get back. Or I'm still here. And we're still recording. Let's see when Ole gets back.
I'm sorry, I lost you. Do you see me?
I don't see you yet, but I have sound.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don't know what it is. English or Norwegian?
What is it? Initial Norwegian?
No, ska vi snacka norska eller engelsk?
English.
English,
and there you're back.
Whoa. Sorry about that.
And let's see if the phone wants to get... if you put it upright first, the phone, and then turn it sideways. There we go. So we're back.
Perfect.
Is she happy now that you answered?
Yeah. She's going to pick up something. So
yeah. Well, as I was saying, very, very important that if you're gonna go the hard race, you really need to check your health, because if you're not healthy, then you will not be performing.
No, correct. So sleep, and of course, blood works is key.
Oh, that's good. Do you have now that you're 34? Have you set like an expiration? I think she's at the door.
Yeah.
You go and open. No
Sorry.
problem. I'll wait.
Welcome in. Okay. I'm back.
And you're back. What were we sleep, blood work, good.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about the training then. The next question that was frequently asked is what kind of advices could you give to a young guy coming up about training? And I think you can tell us a bit how your training has evolved, because I remember how you trained when I was there, and I see how you're training now via Instagram.
Yeah, but it's like I said, there's never a perfect program. It's just a mentality that how much you put into the set. So quality over quantity. Instead of having 5 different exercises and 4 sets on each exercise, instead of that, try and put more quality into each set, make them count, and make sure that you have a progression of overload compared to the last time you did the same muscle group. And then go lower on the volume, lower on the sets, lower on everything, and just find a path where you can always steadily increase. Instead of, if you do like, we can do it like an example. If you do 100 kilo, 10 reps, 3 sets, you have a volume of 3,000 kilos. If you then do 12 reps on the same weight with 3 reps, 3 sets and 12 reps, you have 3,600. Which is a 600 kilo increase, which is more or less, what is it, 20%? So that's a too big increase if you're looking from a progressional overload over time. So you need to take that into consideration, that the increase maybe should be a bit lower and then more consistent, and then put more effort into the working sets instead of having all these different exercises that doesn't give you anything. So more quality into the set, and then try different methods that you find working for you. Like, I'm a big fan of cluster and subsets and SST now, but I didn't in the past. But my physique has changed a lot after I switched. So I think there's something to it, not just from a progressive overload perspective, but also when it comes to how much neurological impulses you will give to the muscle group itself that you're actually training. If you're working with subsets in a cluster, then you're already exhausted, and then the primary part of the muscle that has been giving neurological impulses, if it's already empty and tired, no ATP, no energy to be extracted from that part. So the muscle you have to engage more of the muscle, which you haven't in the past by performing a normal set with only 10 reps. So then if you do like 10 reps, the first in a cluster, and then you do maybe 6, 7, if you're lucky, on the second part, 20 seconds later, and you have 20 seconds more rest, you maybe do 3, 4. For the body itself, you have the increase of the volume compared to the last time, but you also have a different neurological impulses that's given to the muscle, so that it has to grow in a different way than it has in the past. So there's a lot of aspects about how to keep a big, what can I say, change in the training that the body needs to adapt to, and of that it has to grow. So for beginners, I recommend that put quality into the set and don't have all these fancy exercises. To keep it simple and stupid, kiss.
Exactly. Would you say that the bigger you got and the more size you're carrying around, the more recovery you need?
Yes. In some way, yes. But that could also be in the past because of the sleep wasn't 100%. So that was affecting the recovery as well. But I find myself in a position where I could do, for example, 100% in my head with a gun to my head, and I could do 10 sets on one muscle group. Now I'm exhausted after maybe 6, 7. So I can't handle the same load which I did in the past, but that was of course with a lower weight as well. So if I had done the big weight I'm doing now compared to in the past with the same reps, same sets, I don't think I would recover back from that to the next time I'm going to have the exercise.
So then you're also automatically more stronger than back then.
Yeah.
You were strong already, what I remember. And so you become even stronger. How are you feeling the ligaments and the body and your spine? How are they handling all that load?
Well, doing well.
They're doing well.
Yeah, I got this Facebook reminder. It's funny you say so, because it was me and you, and it was 6 years ago to this date, which was last week, I think. And then I was doing a couple of reps on 320 kilos in deadlift.
Exactly, so, I remember it. Yeah.
But that's 6 years ago. So yes, of course, I was already strong back then, but I had a much lower body weight. I think maybe that body weight was 110.
Around that. I remember that day. I told you my deadlift technique is really bad. Ole, could you help me? Yes. Come along. And and the plates just kept on going and kept on going. And I thought either I'll survive this or break in half. There's nothing in between. But do you still deadlift?
Yeah. Not as much as I did in the past, but yes. But that's mainly because I reached the plateau, which I hit 3 times. So then I figured, okay, my body isn't genetically built to become much more stronger than this.
How much was it?
Then I did 350 3 times. But of course, with no equipment, just belt and straps. But I hit that 3 times throughout the period of 2 years. So I didn't... Of course, I had put more effort into it and focusing on just becoming strong. Yes, I would have moved the weight upwards, but that was in my current training regime. That was the high my body could do genetically. I'm not that big guy, Don't have small joints, In theory, I shouldn't even be this strong, I think.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think a lot of people have the misconception that only because you're big and you have a lot of muscles, then you are as strong as they believe you should be, or as strong as you need to be. But on the other side, when you have the illusion of the small joints, you can't handle that kind of load like a strongman. I'm always thinking about Arild, that was an old strongman, and you could see in his body and the size of his wrist that he was made to handle weight.
Yeah, you and me are not.
No, and that's the problem. I always tell, I'm not nearly as big as you, but the times I've tried to go for a kind of progressive overload that I'm really concentrating on lifting weight, it stops because I get injured in some kind of way. So then I work a lot more with clusters, as you say. Just trying to add quality and volume, and of course recuperate from it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my philosophy as well now. But of course I do deadlift, but I'm not pushing the weight in the same way I did, because I hit that roof 3 times and that's where it stopped. But so pound for pound, I was much stronger than I am in like 6 years ago than I am now.
Exactly. You also you tore your pec.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about it and about the recuperation from it, because I think that's when people talk to me about they've injured themselves, I always tell them the story about the time you injured your pec and your comeback that was nothing more of incredible. It's you and Branch Warren when he turned his quadricep.
Well, but yeah, it was 2016. I think it was 3 weeks out of San Marino. I'd just been to Spain, and I came back. I think it was on Tuesday, and I did deadlifts, high rep on Wednesday. So that put some strain to the chest itself, because the bicep is laying underneath. Yeah, you know the anatomy. Everybody probably does. So maybe that put some pressure. And then I was doing high reps on incline bench press as well. And I had done, so then high reps, I mean 20 reps. So I had done the 60 kilo, 100 kilo, 120, 140, and I was doing the 160 set for 20 reps. So to me, it was still light. And I think it was like the third or fourth rep. I can see something was off, and you can see just the muscle were like slipping, like tearing apart. And it was, straight to the hospital. And then they did surgery 5 days after, because they were closed. They don't have day surgery in the weekends. So then they sewed it back on. And a couple of months later, I was on stage again, coming second in Diamond Cup in Malta, second in Diamond Cup in Portugal. So I recovered fast.
Yeah, you recovered really fast. And did you do anything special for the recovery?
No. I just talked to my doctor that what I'm going to do, what I think is best for the recovery, and he agreed, and I just proceed with that.
Yeah. Do you want to share the protocol?
Yeah, of course.
But before you share it, I just want to say, if you have an injury or you have a problem, please don't just take this from Ole like it's the be all end of every injury. As you heard, he talked with the doctor before doing it.
Yeah. No. It was pretty easy, because I did my research and I saw what performance enhancing drugs you could use in order to increase or not but decrease the recovery time, as well as keeping as much volume as possible. And I also read these different techniques on how you could train just half the body, and neurological the body on the side that you didn't use was still getting some sort of stimulus, even though you're not using the muscle. So I did all of those techniques in combination, and mainly it was just testosterone and GH and anadrol as well. And that worked great. Within 3-4 weeks, I was doing those, 5 kilo dumbbells and then 10 kilos. So within, I think it was 8 or 9 weeks, I was already back doing my normal deadlift, my normal, pretty much everything except chest. Of course, I was still holding back, which I did almost, because the doctor said 6 months. So I waited all until May before I was training 100% again with the presses for chest. But it never came back to 100% strength, because when they sewed it back on, they sliced through the front side of the delts. Mm-hmm. So you have muscles there, but they're not functioning. But that's the downhill by doing the surgery. You have to slice through some meat, and then of course that muscles won't be used. So you don't have the same press strength.
But I don't think I don't see it in your physique that your this should be your left side or your right side.
No, you barely see it. It's maybe the muscle has shifted maybe a centimeter, which is more or less impossible to see. Yeah. You can see it by just like Kevin Leroney as well. There you can see a little bit, but it's the same with me. You can see it if you look for it, but if you just look at the physique itself, you don't see it.
No, exactly. And because I think especially your arms and shoulders are really a stand apart for you. Well, everything is almost a stand apart for you. But you're
not calves.
Well,
they suck.
Nobody looks at the calves anyway, man. So no worries. I'll take. You can have my calves if you give me everything else.
Yeah, just wait. I'm just gonna turn on the light. I see it's getting dark.
You know, it's a good podcast when
now
you
during
start.
winter time. Now during winter time, it gets so dark so early.
Exactly, and you know, it's a good podcast when you start during the day and it turns into night.
Yeah.
All right, man. So yeah, that was the injury, and then you jump back into the game. You kept on competing. So people understand also you have competed a lot. You compete very frequently. Um, what was this a part of the plan so you could always keep your insulin sensitivity high
Yes.
and use the rebounds?
Yes. That was one of the main ideas, but another one was also I need to have a goal to stay hungry and focused. If I know there's a competition in 1.5 years, I will slack and don't give it 100%. And it was the same thing that happened this summer. All shows were canceled. I didn't get to compete this fall that I had planned. And then all of a sudden you find yourself lacking a bit of motivation. Discipline kind of fades away throughout the weeks. And it's summer, you're out with the family, with your girlfriend, whatever, on trips. And then all of a sudden you're not eating how you should, you're not training how you should. But then as soon as you get the goal again, it's just right back on and it's 100% again. So I need those kind of competitions to work towards, or else I know that in the long run, I will fall back.
Mm. No, I completely understand. At the same time, as you have to be extremely disciplined to compete that often, because you can never you can never relax and have an off season. You know,
Well,
not being all the time working for it.
well, 2020 was an off season. Before that, I competed continuously every year from 2008, including 2019. So I competed 11 years straight every year.
And most of the time, you were competing both spring and autumn
Yes,
seasons,
yes.
and
Yeah,
summer in between sometimes.
sometimes.
Sometimes, no, it's just really, really impressive.
Yeah.
To talk about other things than just training. Now, during the COVID and the pandemic, Norway was one of the first countries that really went all in with the lockdowns, and now you are in a kind of semi-lockdown until
But
Tuesday, you said?
it's very local. I can get in a car and drive 15 minutes, and the gyms are open because
Yeah.
it's a different county. So now it's very local, not like it was in 2020.
Mm. But during 2020, when it was really locked down, how many months were city gym closed?
Oof, I don't recall. Maybe it was 2 months.
Mm. How did you manage to keep on training?
We have this storage facility where we had all the equipment we needed. Plus, we borrowed something from the gym as well that we normally train at. So we had everything we needed. The only thing that I was missing was the people, because then you were always training alone. And that's a hard thing to do in a long period of time. One thing is if it's for a week or 2 or 3, but when you come to second month, you're starting to, lose that drive because there's nothing to push you. You don't have an atmosphere. If you come into a gym, you hear somebody's, doing heavy weights and they drop the weights. It just gives you that mentality that you're here to work. When you come to an empty gym, just you, there's no music, no heat, no people. It's difficult. Then it's discipline, pure discipline, no motivation at all. So I guess that's where the difference. That's where you separate somebody that keeps on going and winning between somebody who gives up and quit.
And so people understand also, city gym, it's all about the atmosphere.
Yes.
It's an incredible atmosphere. So you really went from all out atmosphere to being completely alone and in quiet, listening only with your
Yeah.
minds. I've seen that they freshen up a city gym quite good.
Yes. Yeah.
They used this time during COVID to change around new paint, and so it really looks awesome.
Yeah, but it's the people there that makes all the difference. If you're, it's like you remember when you were there for those years. It's an environment where everybody just wants the other part to succeed. Everybody's working the same path. It's just a different goal. So I think if you have an environment like that, you will always push each other towards a greater good, a bigger goal than you would have on your own. So I think it's for me at least, it's a key to have such an environment, because that pushes you along the way.
And now that you're coaching, you said you've picked up coaching and you bring in athletes. How many are they from City Gym?
No. That's the thing. I specifically said I didn't want to have anything to do with any athletes at the gym.
All right.
But I had to, yeah. But I had to in the end. But I only have 2. Everybody else I said no to. But that's just because I see a huge potential in both of them. But especially this girl, she can become.
I think I've seen some pictures. You can give her a shout out so people can look her up.
Yeah, Andrea Gjesdal. She will, I think, become bikini pro in the near future. She just needs time. She's young, but her frame is perfect. Work moral is perfect. You know, she works hard. She does what she's being told, and she also listens to the body, and she has the perfect frame for this. So if you look at Maureen, for example, that was also in the gym, that became bikini pro and also did Olympia. I think she came 9th in Olympia last year. So I see similarities with her, and I just want to see people succeed. So that's why I say yes to her. But the rest is athletes at a certain level. That's not at the gym. Gym is my free space, if you could say it like that.
I understand completely. You know, when you go in, you don't want people asking and wondering and updates and all that kind of stuff. But when you mention Maureen also, it's quite incredible that Little Sadness and Little City Gym has 2 IFBB professional league athletes. That's really, really cool. And this girl you're talking about, isn't she also a bit Asian?
Yeah, I think she's half Korean. Maureen is half Filipina.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they're similar in the physique.
Good genetics from that part of the world.
It is
genetics, my man.
I like good genetics. I like strong genetics.
Very good, man. So what are your plans right now? 2021 has just started. What are your plans?
The plan is to do 3 shows in June and July. So there's supposed to be a competition in Spain, and I think now it's 21 weeks. And then in 23 weeks, it's going to be, I think it's Toronto. And then you have Portugal in mid-July. But we don't know if all of the shows are going to be held. We don't know about even if I can get to travel, because maybe you have restrictions when coming back and have to be in quarantine, and I can't be off for 10 days just to do a competition then I will be off for 30 days just to do 3 competitions. And so I just have to see, but in theory, that's at least the plan. So we just have to take it as it comes.
And all those competitions are in Europe.
Yeah.
Aren't you curious about going over to the States and do a couple of shows there?
Well, if the States can get their shit together, then yeah. The way things are now, fuck no. I'm not saying this to disrespect any of my American followers, but your country is a mess now. And I'm not coming before things are stable.
No, you know, it's been entertaining. And you know, if we have any American listeners or watchers from YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. You know, because when I've traveled to the States, you know, it's a different world completely.
It is.
There's another mentality which I think is really good, because there's a winning mentality in the United States.
Yes.
Here in Norway and Sweden, we have something. How can we translate jantelagen? But it's how would you explain it?
You're not supposed to be any better than anybody else, and you're definitely not supposed to think that you're any better than anybody else. You're just as everybody else, which is not a good mentality to have when you want something like we do.
Oh,
So there, the US is perfect for that.
Unless perfect in other areas.
But they can get their things together.
It's the charm. It's the charm of it. I like it. I like the States. I wouldn't move over there, and I think I wouldn't start a family. I think Sweden and Norway are very similar, and sometimes we can complain about the taxes and some that kind of stuff, but there are really good countries, you know. From me being Cuban also, I guess I can say that they are good places to grow up.
Every place has their advantage. Norway and Sweden is just safety, more or less. You're safe no matter what you do. If you get hurt or injured, hospital, check. You don't have to think about any medical insurance, or, you know, that if you're going to call an ambulance, you have to think, oh, do I have money for this? It shouldn't be an issue, but it unfortunately is in the US. But you have definitely more opportunities in the US than you have in Europe. But when it comes to raising family, of course, Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, it's of course much better if you look at it from a safety perspective.
I don't know if you heard, there's a famous Swedish bodybuilder that got a semi-half heart attack, and he had problem with the lungs. No, I don't want to mention any names, but I've seen that mostly of the pros from the United States, they have shared his story, that he's doing like a fundraising, and I think they believe that he needs to pay for his medical bill.
No.
But he's here in Sweden, so I don't understand why there is a fundraising, because everything is free here. And I just want to lay it out. So our dear Americans, don't worry, we have free medical care here in Sweden. So I think that fundraising is for something else.
Yeah.
So right, competitions, hopefully June, July, summer,
June, July,
so somewhere there. Otherwise, with life, what are your plans? I know. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you have a little one, right? Or two?
I have two kids.
You have two kids.
6.5 and 5.5 years old.
6.5, man. I remember when she is a she, right? It's a girl.
Yeah, the oldest one is a girl. Yes.
Yeah, I remember when she was born. It's time flies.
Yeah, it does. Really does.
How is it being a father?
By the way, that year you beat me in overall.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I didn't want to mention it, but you know, when I'm old, I will be referring to that victory.
You won the -90, and you were see-through skin, and I remember.
Yeah, I remember you told me backstage, said, Niro, you're invisible. that was a good one.
You seem like the death itself. Like, I don't. It was good luck. Then I knew you were in condition, but yeah.
But I get to say, Klasbu had really good lighting in that show.
Yeah,
that was.
I think that's probably one of the best physiques I've seen of you in condition perspective.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And I think have you done any better condition than that?
Maybe last Swedish Nationals, maybe.
Okay.
The 2019. But once again, I think it will be really, really difficult to compare, because the lighting was awesome and the pictures were also from Klasbu. So he controlled the lighting, he controlled the cameras. Yeah. So those pictures are really crazy. True. Yeah. But I'm quite content where me and Joachim, we found more or less we always know what has to be done, but we try different stuff. And now we're back to what we know works, because I've told him I don't have too many years left in the game, so I don't have time to waste.
Well, minimum 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah. You see some of the best one there, 40 plus.
I don't know. My girlfriend will let me do 10 more years. I don't think so, man.
Well, maybe you need to change it to girlfriend then.
Let's hope she doesn't listen.
No, she's not. It's
No.
there's like seriously, there's like 95-6% guys just listening to this. No girls.
I can promise you that there's almost only guys and Amanda that wants to date you.
Yeah, probably.
but I wanted to ask you: does your little girls, do they understand that you are a bigger human than all the other dads at school?
Yeah, because like Mark was over here, and he's often over, and I think it was because I have a daughter and a son, so I think it was my son who said, he's 5.5, and he said, "You're like Dad," and he was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're like Dad. Bigger than everybody else." So yeah, I think they see it in some way, but some other way they don't see it at all. But of course, first impression for any other kids, they of course they look. But that's the thing. Kids look, grown-ups don't. Like I can be in the store, at the grocery store, and you have like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids coming up to me. It's like, "Whoa, you're strong." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And you see their parents, they don't say anything. So kids will always be drawn towards strength.
But because the kids, they aren't yet accustomed to the jantelag that we were talking about,
Exactly.
the rule of jante. So I think that's why, and they probably think you're a Hulk, that you are a character from Marvel that just walked out.
Probably, and that's also one of the key things why kids love athletes so much, regardless of sport, because athletes follow their dreams, and kids love to see that, because they haven't learned the social boundaries about the janteloven, that you shouldn't think you're any better than anybody else. They don't know this yet. So they just see athletes and they see, somebody that's realizing their dream. That's why they like them so much. That's another reason I know I liked my athlete idols so much when I was young, because they were doing exactly what they wanted to do.
No, I think so as well. And back to the mentality of winning, that's the thing with the States, that they encourage you to win. But when we're over here, we encourage people to participate.
Well, not in this house.
No. I know they've been from a very young age. They are being taught to win, and I think they will win. If I can ask you, if your daughter or your son would tell you in 20 years' time, "Dad, I want to be a professional bodybuilder as well," would you help them? Would you encourage them?
Yeah, rather than if they have set their mind to something and that's their dream, I'm not going to be in the way. I would rather be there to help. But of course, if I could choose, they will play golf, volleyball, soccer, whatever. Of course, if you look at the health perspective into things, then it's nothing you recommend anybody, but everything to a certain level. If my son wants to be a classic physique or classic bodybuilding or like classic physique, then of course he can do that for his entire life and it won't affect anything. But the open bodybuilding, it's a bit more challenging on the body.
Would you also encourage them to have an education and to have a good job like you do, because you understand that bodybuilding is an expensive sport, and you have your life quite set, and then bodybuilding is your passion, but you're not struggling. That there are a lot of bodybuilders that struggle economically. I remember way back in the days, I heard some rumors that people from Oslo, from the more competitive gyms, we had our little clash with Oslo gyms, and we were from Stavanger, that they took loans for doing a competition, and
I heard so.
That's scary.
Yeah. No, I just want my kids to be happy. I don't really care, because I see it for myself. If I'm going to travel, if I'm somewhere, if I'm doing something, it really doesn't matter what I do. What matters is who I'm with. Like, I can be on the most expensive vacation you can ever imagine, and if I'm alone, it really doesn't mean much. But I can just get in the car, drive up to the cabin in the mountain, and I'm with the people I love, and it's the best feeling in the world, the best time of my life. So it really doesn't matter. The money part doesn't matter in that sense, to be happy. And I just want my kids to be happy. So if they want to become, like my brother is a cardiologist, surgeon for heart. If they want to become like him, fine. If they want to become an engineer like me, fine. I just want them to be happy and, of course, pursue their dream. because I think that's one of the key things to be happy. Happy with inside is following what your heart says. My heart says open bodybuilding, but people have different goals. Some people are happy just by having a 9 to 5 job, and weekends are just meant for partying. That's their life. That's not mine. So if my kids want to do that, and that's what makes them happy, okay. Just want to see them happy. That's pretty much it.
As you said when the pod started, that you respect everybody, all the different lifestyles, and that's the right thing to do, because you are quite busy with yours.
I'm in no position, and I have no time to follow up what everybody else does. If they are happy with what they're doing, fine. But if somebody is miserable, then of course I might, give a hand out and say, maybe you should change what you're doing and go back to actually what you think was your dream when you were young. Because I think that's it's an important thing for just the meaning of life, to have a certain goal. If you don't have a goal to work towards, it doesn't matter if it's money. I don't care. You can have different. Some people just want to leave the world a better place than they came, and that's fine. And some people just want to have more money. I got nothing against money, but I know what makes me happy, and that's not money. Or I just want everybody around me to be happy and succeed. And if I can help people in that sense by sharing my knowledge when it comes to coaching with different athletes, great, I'll do that. At the same time, I'm realizing myself and keeping those close to me happy as much as I can by giving them the feedback they need to grow as a person.
It's really good, man. Yeah, and that's how you always been. You've been really, you're a relaxed person. You're laid back, and nothing. Can you get stressed?
There's too many things that's out of my control. So if, like, a couple of days ago, I got this fine, which was huge, but it's like, I can't change the fact that I got this fine. I did something wrong. I need to pay a fine. That's not going to change the mood I'm in, because that's like out of my control. That's something I've done, and I need to take responsibility for that action. You can't be stressed about it. You can't be angry about it, because that's just the way it is. I can't do anything about the COVID situation. Then the less you stress about the things you can't control, there's really not much to stress about left. And then that gives you a pretty relaxing life.
Well, now that you brought up fines, how's the situation in sadness? The last time I had a podcast with Joachim, he said that it was still as bad as always, with the hunting of bodybuilders and assuming that everybody uses performance-enhancing drugs. How is it in sadness / Stavanger? Has it calmed down?
Hasn't been anything since 2016.
Ah.
Yeah. No, it hasn't been anything. But to be honest, like, there's no no reasons behind anything at all why they changed the regulations and laws in 2013, I think it was. There's nothing. I've done all these tests when it comes to cognitive behavior and memory, short-term, long-term, even then an MRI to see for structural changes in the brain, echocardio, which is like ultrasound of the heart as well. And I did that in 2014 and 2018, and there's no change on anything. Everything is exactly the same. No changes in IQ, no changes in memory, no changes in the brain structural changes. Nothing changed. Nothing.
No, but we both know that it's a propaganda to scare.
Yes.
It's a scary propaganda. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to use performance-enhancing drugs, but it is scaring. And as we both know, I would just like to say that performance-enhancing drugs, if they enhance something, is who you already are.
Yes.
So if you're an asshole, you will be a bigger asshole.
Most likely, yes.
That simple is it. That's the problem. But if you're a normal person, as I said, I've never heard you. The only time I've heard some kind of screaming around you, it was the time you dropped a dumbbell. You were doing dumbbell rows, and Andre came out and and screamed, and you didn't answer back. You just sorry, Andre. Well, does anybody answer to Andrea back? I don't think so.
No.
So it's just it's a propaganda for scaring, and this can be an episode of itself. But you've probably seen it, that there are some males that have low testosterone, and before prescribing testosterone therapy, they give you antidepressive.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And that's really bad. That's
it's
really
really
bad.
messed up. It's really messed up. You have something that's supposed to be in your body and that's low for some reason, and you're prescribing a synthetic drug to alter your reality and perception of life. That's not the way to go.
Oh,
But that's what I mean. There's a difference between use and misuse, but no matter how you twist and turn on it, you can't undermine the fact about the tests, for example, I've gone through, friends of mine gone through. You can't neglect those reports. Still, they're being neglected, and you have the dangerous situation, which you have many times now. You have young people that don't know what to do, and there's a lot of BS on internet, and it's just a maze that they need to figure out, and that maze is difficult. And what you get then is maybe not enough information, correct information on how to do this in a safe way, seen from a health perspective. So by making things illegal, you just make it worse. That's what we've seen all the way back until like the 60s and 70s when it comes to normal drugs, recreational drugs. You see it's a failed politics. And we see that, for example, in Portugal, which legalized pretty much everything. Not legalized, but didn't make it under punishment from the state, but instead it's under the healthcare, so they actually get help. But this is drug addicts in a hard matter, and they did it back in 2010, and it changed entirely. So I know that the Norwegian government was down there last year, and they are doing those changes as well. And of course, that will also come to performing enhancing drugs, because that's how they made them illegal, by putting them in under there. So for the future, I think we would go back to more of an open society where you have knowledge that's trustworthy, instead of having secrecy and you have all of a sudden crazy dosages, which just causes more harm than good. And you also can't deny the fact that you said about low testosterone. There's more cardiovascular diseases related to low testosterone than high.
Yeah.
So,
It is. We are supposed to have testosterone. God damn it.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly.
Even the women.
And our lifestyles nowadays, how we live, how we eat, how we drink. Not us, but the normal population. They are suppressing their hormonal values.
They don't know.
And that's what we're seeing.
That's the thing, but they don't know. It's like with the sleep. As long as you don't have a reference on how you should feel when you're 100%, it's impossible to know, because it's a degradation of your health that's being, and quality of life that's just changing over a long period of time. So you don't know what's an energetic feeling of how it should be when you're 100%, seen from a hormonal perspective and the profile itself. And that's why so many people are misdiagnosed and non-diagnosed, because they're not performing the test they should. And they're giving, like you said, antidepressants. They're giving out pills that shouldn't be given out, when there's only a need to replace what's missing, which already should be in the body.
It's really good. Do you have any, if there's a young listener that just wants more information, do you have any what's the word, literature you could recommend them to?
I don't know if in sites specifically where you have any, but in general, just do common sense. If, like, performance enhancing drugs are a necessary evil to get to open bodybuilding, but all the other classes, no, really. So put your mind to it and think, not just one more time, think 10 more times and figure out, is this actually a path I will go? Because if you're only going to stay in men's physique or even up to classic, you don't really need anything. To a certain degree, it's of course genetics plays a huge role, but 9 out of 10 probably don't need anything. They need to get their training, recovery, and diet in check, because they are most likely not 100%.
No, mostly aren't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think we've been on for how long now? A little bit more than an hour. And you are going to go train within 25 minutes, actually.
I don't know what time it is, but yeah,
Yeah,
about that.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Give or
some,
take, it doesn't matter if I'm like 20 minutes late. I'm alone, so
you are, yeah, exactly. City gym is closed.
yeah.
Yeah. Where are you training today then?
I'll be at the warehouse.
You'll be at the warehouse. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
Is this the first time you do a podcast interview?
No, I did one a couple of weeks ago with a Polish podcast, actually. Yeah.
Good.
So I've done one in the past. I've done also with muscular development as well.
Yeah, but isn't one of those a Norwegian?
Yeah, AJ.
Yeah. From where from Norway is he?
He's from Oslo, somewhere.
Cool.
I don't know him that well, but he's from Oslo, yeah.
All right.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, you didn't do. I know Klasbu and this guy from Träningsforum started something. Were you on there?
Yeah, I was on the cover of Träningsforum magazine, but that's I think those photos were taken back in 2017. So it's getting 4 years this year. So they're not recent. They're not recent
all right.
at all.
Well, my man, thank you so much. All the way from Norway. You know, the pleasure's all mine. It's called Pro and the Bro, and I'm just the Pro. So you are actually our second IFBB professional that comes here.
Because Samir's already been.
No, you're the first bodybuilder that are here. The other one is Pontus, and he's just a little men's physique. Men's physique, little cute boy.
Yeah. I did a competition with him as well. I think you were there as well.
I think so.
Yeah, but I don't recall which competition. I just remember him on the flight.
I think it was Spain or Dubai. I think so.
Then you know you've done too many shows when you don't recall where you met people.
Yeah, no, I know, man. Well, thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch, because after the season has started and you're competing, maybe we can do another chat and you can tell us all about the pro life, competing and all that kind of stuff. It's always fun, you know. I told you it was last autumn there when Hollingstead won the Spain show. I think that's really good, and that's good also that Big Ramy won the Olympia.
Yeah.
So if if they're going back to size and big and bad and condition, then it will be your game.
Yeah, it is. So hopefully I have to look who was the judges in Spain with James, and then aim for that.
Exactly. And James is he's a little bit, he's as old as I think. He's 31, 32. So somewhere there. Born in 89.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
So you got this, man. You're not far from it, and I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
All right. So you take care. Thank you, Norway. Thank you, Sweden, and thank you everybody that's been watching and listening. I hope the English wasn't too bad. I think your English was good, Ole. Your English was really good.
Same with yours.
Well, you know, my mom is an English teacher, so I better. So everybody, take care. Ole, stay on. I'm just gonna stop the recording. And everybody, thank you.